We ask what impact these plans will have on Shoreditch and Spitalfields, and is there a better use of this site that could serve the needs of the local community? We hope you will take the opportunity to make your voice heard at this crucial moment in the development of the East End. The city fringe is a complex tapestry of historic neighbourhoods, and although it suffered during the last century, its architectural character remains strong, due primarily to the preservation and renovation of existing buildings, both 18th century Huguenot houses in Spitalfields and 19th century warehouses in Shoreditch. This is an appealing place to live and work, alive with markets, thriving small businesses and popular with creative industries.
It's always been the sort of connection that you have to the people who come down here.
The distinctive identity of the East End is attractive for start-ups, and the flexibility of the historic building stock offers an infinite capacity for reinvention. Architects see exciting opportunities here in the city fringe. Yet, although many of the smaller recent projects are good, big developments fail to impress. Too often, architects and developers are happy to exploit the legacy of conservation-led regeneration, but not so willing to acknowledge or respect it.
Why people come here is the character. I know we've got the old and the new, and I think it blends quite well at the moment. A lot of people love that.
This is a subtle part of London, with its own distinctive character, full of potential, and a buffer zone where corporate and community values meet.
Spitalfields and Shoreditch has got a real character. It's got a lot of history. It's got a very mixed community. It's a massive sense of the knowledge and experience of the place.
The proposals for the Goodsyard development paint a bleak picture with huge towers overwhelming the surrounding neighbourhoods.
It's not just one tower, of course, it's a whole wall of towers.
2 of these towers are almost 50 stories high, and others over 30, which is dramatically out of scale in a place where even a 10-storey building would seem tall. These enormous towers will cast the area to the north of the site into shadow. Even the developer's consultants admitted that 43% of surrounding buildings will suffer major loss of sunlight, an entirely unacceptable level of impact.
It's going to overshadow the area completely. There are already tower blocks at the end of Bethnal Green Road which completely overshadow and look down on people.
When compared to the bold, pioneering examples of the Boundary Estate just 2 streets north of the Goodsyard and the Barbican Estate less than a mile to the west, the proposals as they stand appear unimaginative, irrelevant and even damaging.
The housing situation in Tower Hamlets and Hackney is in a state of real flux and turmoil at present.
We need a mix of different kinds of buildings, different kinds of uses. I think one of the key things for me in any area in order to be sustainable and vibrant, you need, as much as you need affordable housing, you need affordable workspace.
Significantly, we can't find any commitment to genuinely affordable housing in the Goodsyard application, although we do know that Hackney and Tower Hamlets are 2 of the most densely populated London boroughs.
At the moment, there's no social housing whatsoever. Everything goes to the private sector. Even if you go down to the homeless persons unit, they will tell you that there's no social housing. They'll give you a leaflet which will give you a list of letting agents that take housing benefit.
At the moment, I know people around the corner, for instance, they've got 5 kids sharing a bedroom. Well, that's difficult for the older kids to study.
We asked the developers what kind of people their proposals are designed for and received this response.
Both parties to the joint venture have signed the Mayor of London's Concordat on the sale of new residential property within London, an agreement which provides for new properties being offered to Londoners before or at the same time as being offered overseas. In addition, in respect of affordable housing, the joint venture will continue to work with the local authorities, the GLA and the government in terms of the specific housing tenure and the proportion likely to be delivered on site whilst achieving viability.
Well, it isn't development for local people. It's not, the shops are not going to be for local people, the housing is not going to be for local people.
People like
myself and people like Crescent Trading, they're going to be forced out of the area, but not within the vicinity, not even Hackney or anywhere in the East End.
This is not just a debate about how we want our cities to be, but about who controls the process of regeneration. The relaxation of planning controls has left the city fringe vulnerable, and local authorities appear powerless to manage the spread and scale of change, while increasingly important social responsibilities are overlooked.
That entire area is a closed area, so access to different parts of the Goodsyard, I think maybe some new streets where actually links the city and to hamlets.
More housing for more people who have lived there all their lives, you know, and people who live and work in the community.
The Goodsyard proposals represent the worst type of exploitative development, shaped by a short-term commercial agenda and marked by a callous approach to context.
Picked up the phone to the developers and suggested we should start a dialogue. And 3 years later, they produced a rabbit out of the hat, which was a high-rise scheme.
Should a development of this size and scale be permitted, it will mark a new and disturbing chapter in the expansion of the city into the East End, destroying the life, character and diversity that makes this area special and unique.
Fundamentally, I think the development has to, because it's in Shoreditch, it has to reflect, in terms of its size and scale, the existing streetscape.
The Goodsyard planning application runs at over 1,000 pages without any summary to make it comprehensible for the general public, while the consultation period of 21 days is woefully inadequate. It is a cynical approach designed to avoid any public engagement.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you can make a difference if you get involved. But I guarantee if you don't get involved, you don't make a difference.
These proposals would have an enormous impact on the area, and the reason for making this film is to ask people if the plans will make best use of such an important site, and if not, what changes need to be made.
To engage people in the community is the best thing you can do, because it creates a stake in the community. It gives value to the area that you live in.
If you care about affordable housing and the future of this special and historic part of London, visit the East End Preservation Society website at eepscampaigns.org and find out how you can have your say.